Hello and welcome to the Long Grass podcast here on Forever Sports. The Footwedge crew is back after, it felt like a Tiger Woods hiatus. We've been gone for so long. Unfortunately, we had to wait for people to move houses, people to come back from traveling around Europe. So we have been away for a while. And unfortunately, we're hoping to come to you guys in the new studio, but that'll have to be until next week. But very, very excited to show off our new home, which is going to be, I think, really, really cool. I'm going to really take the podcast up a bit. But the lads, how are we doing?
Yes. All good. I reckon this is going to be a bigger comeback than Tiger Woods, Steve.
Dude, this could be the biggest comeback in golf, to be honest. I don't want to put it out there too much, but it could very much be. This could be the biggest thing to have happened this year in the golfing world after LIV Golf.
Yeah, absolutely.
What you're going to talk about. Over the next hour, basically, and if you haven't seen the podcast before, because we haven't been around for a while, basically, this is where you get your weekly dosage of golf. We're going to be talking about LIV Golf. We're going to be talking about, after the sort of fourth event they had, we're going to be talking about the Sunshine Tour, giving you a bit of an update there, quite a big couple of weeks ahead as it really sort of builds momentum. We're going to be talking about the FedEx Cup, which was sort of saw the end of the PGA Tour coming to the end of the year. We're talking about the DP World Tour, the BMW PGA Championship is this coming weekend. And just talk about a little bit of our personal golf. We're seeing Ross make a bit of a comeback with some good scores. We've had a DeBarros PB since we last spotted, so it's been quite an eventful few months and quite a packed show to come. Now, LIV Golf, I think, is where we're gonna be diving in first, and quite a controversial one, and very much we're divided within the Footwedge crew. In terms of where we stand. Very interesting to see what the reaction is going to be in the comments, stuff like that. So, if you are watching right now, please make sure you subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening to an Apple Music, Spotify, etc. Just subscribe so that you guys always get the latest content. But in terms of LIV Golf, we saw quite a few new names. We're seeing it really gain momentum. We're seeing Rory and Tiger come out against it. It's been an interesting one, and I'm going to go to Ross first because he's very much on the PGA Tour train. Is LIV Golf going to be good for golf? Not necessarily the tour itself, but what might happen because of the tour.
It's tough to say, and especially like backing the PGA Tour side, but I do think it'll be good for golf. I do think it's put a spin on what your usual golf is. I don't think it's as professional as it should be, but I do think it's good for golf. And as you've seen, like already with Tiger and Rory now producing something to go against LIV Golf, or not against LIV Golf, but to challenge LIV Golf in a sense and differentiate golf in a different way as well. So I think like in the future, you're going to see a lot more variations of golf, which could be quite interesting and could attract quite a few new supporters and fans and gain the interest of different groups who don't like the classiness in a sense of golf, because I know some people think golf's too formal, it's too strict, there's too many rules involved, and there's certain people who just want to play it for fun and enjoy it and play golf and listen to music and drink and carry on. And I think LIV Golf does bring that aspect to it, where it changes. Like now this week, them allowing players to wear shorts. That puts a very different spin on what golf has been viewed as over the past however many years. So as much as I'm not the biggest fan of LIV Golf, I do think it will be good for golf.
You're watching, there's music going on in the background. As I said, people are wearing shorts now. It's like taking away that whole sort of stigma that golf is just reserved for this elite and it's this very proper, prim and proper type thing. So it is quite interesting from that regard in terms of making it a bit more. It is definitely more accessible, both from a relatable point of view, as well as even if you look at the distribution of it, the fact that it is being streamed live on YouTube. You don't have to pay to watch it. There's a running scorecard, there's teams, there's a bit more things to try and follow, so that even if you are a very new golf fan, it is a bit easier to consume. And a very big advocate, DeBarros, You're on the LIV Golf train, eh?
Bro, I actually just took off my Greg Norman shirt now and I put this on. So no, I'm a huge advocate for LIV Golf. I think it's. I was hoping Ross is going to be a little bit more against me. I'm ready for an argument on this because obviously I'm in the industry where the golfers are talking about it a lot, and I see a lot of guys against LIV Golf all the time. But it's almost like they're blindly loyal to the PGA Tour, and I don't know if you guys have seen a lot of it, but like people want to be against anything that the great PGA Tour has ever done. And everyone was like to me, no, LIV Golf's not going to be good for it. It's all about the money. It's not going to change golf at all. The players aren't going to go to it. It's not going to affect the PGA Tour. They're too big of a company to be affected by it. And like already now, the first season's not even done. We're seeing huge names jump ship. This is probably the biggest field that they've had, and it's actually getting to the point where so many people that told me like, no, there's not enough good names and there'll never be enough good names in it. And this last weekend it was actually quite a stacked card, if I can say, of players. And I mean, we were looking at the stats the other day. There was like nearly 50% of the last 6 years majors winners are now on LIV Golf, and you're seeing more and more players jump ship. Cam Smith wins British Open, jump ship, like it's already having a real big knock-on effect. You're seeing guys like Tiger and Rory are having to react to this because there's no choice, because unfortunately if every single sport stayed the same way it was 10, 15, 20 years ago, they'd be dead. If we were still kicking around a leather football, it would be a mess. It's the same kind of concept, and I think what LIV is doing now is it's fixing one of golf's biggest issues, and that's appealing to a younger age group. Golf has had this really old aging age group, and you see it in everywhere in golf. You go play golf, you're going to see old men there the whole time. It's old men buying golf clubs. It's old men doing this. This is the first thing that's really made a real big impact in terms of trying to change that. I mean, you look at how they advertise, their marketing, it's golf but louder, all that sort of stuff. It's a real different age group we're seeing get targeted for once as well. So I'm huge advocate for what it's doing. And I need someone to argue against me. I was hoping, Roscoe, you were going to start telling me about... I was hoping you're going to... Yeah?
I'll argue with you now. Do you not think... So you say... So I do. I think it will help in terms of the accessibility and changing the age group of golf and all of that. So I agree with you on that. But I think it's a money-grabbing scheme. I mean, I saw a thing Pat Perry's posted. I don't know if he said it in an interview yesterday, but he's now... I think he's either matched or doubled his earnings that he made on the PGA Tour in 4 starts than he earned in like 25 starts on the PGA Tour and whatever. And that irritates me because the reason he's doubled his earnings now is because it's only 54 holes. There's no cut and there's stupid money being thrown at it. Whereas on the PGA Tour, he didn't make money because he wasn't good enough to compete against the best in the game. And it's the same. I don't know if you guys saw that Doug Kim, or I'm not sure what his name was, but he shot 51 on the back nine.
Nothing wrong with 51 on the back nine, dude.
51 in a professional event, and you're going to walk away $85,000. I mean, that's ridiculous.
What? So are we going to set limits now as to how much people can earn? You can't just...
No,
yeah, but I mean, you still don't...
Yeah, cut. It needs to be a proper professional event. Like, this is...
Hey! There's no need to throw me into the wolves like that. Steve's bringing the scores down here, dude. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you the biggest thing that if LIV Golf gets right, suddenly takes away that sort of argument. Is I think at the moment there's no qualifying standard. And look, this year is very much it's the LIV Golf Invitational, whereas next year they're moving towards the LIV Golf League. What I think is interesting, and I want to talk about the whole PGA thing, is that if you look at some of the comments that some of the people have made, and I think Tiger Woods said over here, he said, I disagree with the players moving. He said, this was before the Open, he says, I think that what they have done is they've turned their back on what has allowed them to get to this position, which is an interesting sort of standpoint, because everyone's having a massive issue with the fact that people are walking away from the PGA Tour to LIV Golf. But nobody is ever going to turn around to Dean Burmester, who's just gotten his PGA Tour card. We're going to talk about it later. And he now goes and decides to play in the PGA Tour, and therefore we don't see him on the Sunshine Tour, for example. Now, that is the inevitable. Well, the PGA Tour is just better. It's just there's more money, there's better players, so of course you're going to play on the PGA Tour. So I think that argument sort of falls away to a certain degree, that there are always going to be bigger tours and tours that people will choose between. I think the biggest problem with LIV at the moment is the lack of qualifying sort of standards, the fact that it's very invitational. As they move towards the LIV Golf League, which is going to have more championships, and what I think is quite a big coup for them is the fact that they are linking up with the Asia Tour, and the fact that there's going to be events in Asia and they're going to be associated with a tour. So I think if they suddenly start creating a challenge tour environment, or they can start linking up with tours, then I think that when there becomes a bit of a pathway where you have to go and play this, and that then gets you into LIV Golf, for example, it becomes like a PGA Tour in terms of it's a step-by-step thing, and once it starts moving away from just being purely invitational, or if they were to secure world ranking points, for example, then I think that it becomes like any other tour in the world, and I think those arguments go away. I think the Sunshine Tour should go and jump into LIV.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I couldn't agree more, especially the amount of South Africans that are playing at LIV at the moment. And for me, the Sunshine Tour, like, they're always struggling with their broadcasting, and I'll get to that later because I do want to touch on that in terms of like the events that are being broadcasted. But that's obviously because they've got limited time to broadcast events and everything like that, and they've got to pay rights to SuperSport. Brew, hop on the Shotgun Start train, and you've got a 4-hour event, which is much more manageable to air. Instead of airing half of the Sunshine Tour from like 12 o'clock to 5 o'clock, you're airing half of it, when we could actually see every player playing at once for 4 hours, and see the whole event, from start to finish.
And at the moment, yeah.
And also, I think one of the biggest issues with the Sunshine Tour at the moment, in terms of and growing the golf game in South Africa, like you can see from their, like, what they're trying to do in their events, and like trying to market it a bit better on social media. They are trying to grow the game of golf in South Africa and make the Sunshine Tour bigger. And by doing that, they're getting more sponsors on board, like now with Luno and all of that. But I do think if they want to grow the game of golf, you need to be able to watch. South Africans need to be able to watch the tour that's happening around them. I mean, we sit at home like every weekend, and you've got a European tour event to watch. You can watch, like this last weekend, Made in Himmerland. And it's cool to sit there and watch the golf. PGA Tour, LIV as well. It's cool to sit and watch the golf. And I think it would be even cooler to sit and watch like guys we know. I mean, we all know one or two guys who are on the Sunshine Tour at the moment. We know the courses they're playing. And so I think that provides an even bigger attraction to want to sit and watch Sunshine Tour. Like when they play, for example, at Danefin, like I want to sit there and watch and be like, that's my home course. That's cool. Yeah. And like watch them play Blair Athol and Leopard Creek and all of that, and like involved in that. So I think if Sunshine Tour want to become a really well-known tour and attract more support and all of that, they are going to.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm going to say the broadcasting is a whole different kettle of fish to chat about just now. I don't want to deter away from good old LIV Golf too much, but I mean, I agree, Roscoe. Like, even they played Highland Gate this last weekend, and I'd love to watch what the pros do at a course like Highland Gate, but it wasn't aired because I assume there wasn't sponsorships. There's, it's expensive to do the airtime. It's expensive to do all this kind of stuff, and that goes for Dizals and a whole couple other places as well. Instead, they're doing these highlight packages that kind of run on SuperSport a little bit later, which is nice. But, I want to see the guys first to 18, or whatever order they so choose to do so, as long as I can watch all of it. But yeah, the broadcasting of the Sunshine Tour, I think everyone wants to watch more, and there's also not a lot of consistency with their broadcasting as well, which makes it a bit difficult. But I think a format like Shotgun Start certainly can help that.
Yeah.
Well, the big thing with LIV at the moment is that we can't argue that's not getting momentum. I mean, last week, and we kept waiting to see whether we were going to see it after the FedEx Cup, and we did. Cameron Tringale, Cameron Smith, Joachim Neiman, Harold Varner, Mark Leishman, and Annabin Lahiri. I mean, the current Open champion to walk away from the PGA Tour, second in the world, massive victory for LIV. To basically be able to say that we're taking one of the biggest names in golf. I mean, this year, I mean, probably top. Yeah, in terms of if you were to talk about the biggest names you could bring to LIV based on this year, he's probably within the top 3.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look at the PGA Tour this year and all the narratives around the PGA Tour this year, and it was Scotty Scheffler versus Cam Smith. That was the PGA Tour narrative this year, and so for LIV to get him to get Cam Smith across to them, especially while he's fighting for the world #1 spot.
Yeah, and I mean, I must say,
a big win for
I
LIV,
think it's
and
very
I was
rare
quite
that you see a
surprised.
sporting body grow as quick as what LIV has done. It's their first year, and they're signing major champion winners. I mean, like you say, it's a money cash grab and everything like that, but and obviously all the qualifying material and whatnot. But this year of LIV is just about getting it going and growing it as quick as they can. The product that is LIV Golf now, compared to what it's going to be next year, is going to be completely well, when I say completely different, I mean like you'll have these leagues, you'll have these qualifying materials and all the sort of thing that's going behind it as well. So I think the product, what it's done in its first year, is terrifying to see how quickly they've grown. And I don't think you often see a sporting body do what they do. They've obviously got the money to back it, but I don't think they're going to draw other players away from PGA Tour without money. And players don't play golf for free. No one works for free. No one, if Rory and all of them are so concerned with growing the game of golf, why don't you just come to South Africa for a month and grow it here for a month? Play on the Sunshine Tour. You saw what you did at the SO Open back in like a while ago, like what's it, 2013 or whatever. Yeah. And you saw what Rory did by just coming and playing at a bench here. Well, why doesn't he go do that all over the world and play for cheap and just grow the game of golf if that's all you care about and not money? You don't join the PGA Tour unless you're out there to make money, and I think you'll see that at any time.
I want to ask you, DeBarros, do you think
this is the big one?
LIV is going to secure world golf ranking points? It's the big one.
I don't think they need it as much as everyone thinks they need it. I'm going to say world ranking points are going to become irrelevant if half the players are at LIV and half the players are at the PGA Tour. Then the world golf ranking points, it's just going to be a ploy by the PGA Tour to hold on to be like, well, we're still the best because we've got the world #1. But if like someone like Scotty or whatever was over at LIV, you would still probably say that's world #1. It's just a title that I think the PGA Tour are going to try to hold on to, and I'm going to say that the world ranking points are going to become irrelevant if they don't start including LIV anyway.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting in terms of the world ranking points and then exemption into the majors, because the longer LIV runs and the guys are on LIV and not earning world ranking points, they're obviously going to drop down and out of the top 50, top 75, etc., and then won't get exemption into majors, which will be quite interesting. Because I think it was Bubba and Phil both said the other day about like coming back to Augusta, and they said, I can't exactly remember what the quotes were, but they were like pretty certain that they would be back at Augusta, which is fair enough. As past champions, they've got an exemption for life unless PGA Tour and the governing bodies change that. But for example, like guys who haven't won a major, like Joaquin Niemann, for instance, if he was to drop out of the exemption rankings to get into majors, I wonder how they would feel about that. And I saw the other day they've now been banned,
which I think is quite short-sighted, to be honest. Because I think that, for example, Cam Smith decides that after this weekend he hates LIV Golf.
Yeah.
If PGA sat there saying, "Well, come back, we'll take you back," that's a far bigger blow they could ever give to LIV Golf then to sit there saying, if they can bring players back, then that's a big thing, because then they can sit there saying, oh well, as you can see, LIV golf's not all that. Could you please keep your dogs quiet? See, they're also advocating for LIV Golf, dude. They're big fans. I love it.
Yeah, no, they liked your point there, Steve, clearly. But yeah, I must agree. I must agree.
What was quite interesting?
Do you know? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll wait for Ross to get back.
No, I was just going to say, do you know what's the one big thing that is interested me the most is PGA Tour's reaction. I wonder if it actually hasn't helped LIV to a large extent, in the sense that they've created so much controversy around this series, around this league, that now whenever a player signs with them, it's this big news. Everything is big news because it's so controversial. It's so all the sort of things is happening that I think PGA Tour has tried to make it so against the traditions of golf and everything that it's become so controversial, and that any news now is actually it's turning into any publicity is good publicity for LIV at this point. They're almost embracing that kind of controversy and feeding off of it. If anything, it's helping. Yeah.
Sort of embracing like the villain of the story.
Well, I mean, the response from
Running with
LIV
that and
after
using
the
that to
comments from
their
Tiger and
advantage.
Maury, after they had that big meeting and stuff like that, was simply LIV Golf is clearly the best thing that's ever happened to help the careers of professional golfers. Which is quite interesting because, first of all, they'll sit there and say that the players who have joined, even the ones who got let go after the first tournament, because that's also an interesting thing. You've got players who played in the first one, they're like, this is fantastic. And now they're signing everybody else and they're saying, well, you're a bit of a nobody, so you're actually not going to play anymore. Now, some of them have lost their PGA Tour card, so what do they do now? They can't go back to the PGA. They're now finding themselves a little bit in the middle. So interesting to see how that sort of area plays out. I mean, your Dustin Johnsons, and they're not going to worry. Your Louis Oosthuizen, for example, he knows that he's going to be able to play LIV for the next couple of years because they're not going to get rid of him. He's too big a name. But I suppose the smaller names who suddenly get replaced, that what happens to their careers in terms of, yes, they've earned a bit of money now, but if they get excluded from the LIV golf events, where do they play, and what happens to them, which is sort of interesting to see how it panned out. But to sort of wrap up a little bit on LIV, I do think it'll be interesting to see what the PGA Tour does, and I think that's the biggest sort of hopefully what will be a bit of a watershed moment is that they're now forced to change. So the question is, what does the PGA Tour, to a lesser extent, what does the DP World Tour now do to make themselves competitive? What can they do to rival LIV Golf? Because obviously from a money point of view, they probably can't do that much. But how do you think they can respond to make their tours better and less of a more appealing for people to willing to stay on there, even though they're not going to make as much money?
It'll be interesting to see what happens. Like I think this whole thing that Rory and Tiger are now releasing in their league of sorts, it'll be quite interesting to see what that's all about. Because from what I've heard about it, looks like apparently it looks quite plasticky and doesn't look great. So that'll be quite interesting to see.
I saw Rory and Tiger. I think the concept seems really cool. I think you 3-player teams, throw them in a simulator, real cool courses, make it short. I don't think I could watch that for 5-6 hours, but I certainly could spend an hour watching 3-on-3 teams challenge each other in a stadium, and it's all quite clear. So as I say, I mean, I'm not against PGA Tour. I'm a bit disappointed how I think they handled LIV a bit differently. Probably could have worked out for everyone. I'm sure there's an amicable resolution to all of this that might have been missed out on. But I mean, I'm not against anyone. I want to see the game grow, and let's try different concepts, because clearly we've got a aging population and old people watching, and golf will die a slow, painful death, especially now without Tiger, without all of these guys. You're not going to get a name like Tiger hold the sports up for a long, long time. So I think guys got to try new things and especially appeal to this younger generation.
Yeah. You know what I want to see? I want to see a PGA
especially now that they've created this heel
style
narrative, the good guys, bad guys, money grab, all this. What a cool opportunity to take advantage of. But I don't know if we'll see that happening.
And I mean, Ryder Cup and the President's Cup very much at the moment. What's the future of it, really? I mean, you look at the President's Cup. If the LIV golfers don't... Calm. We've got to back the President's Cup because we get to watch our buggers there. But, if the LIV golfers don't play... Yeah, that's the thing. But also Cam Smith, Jacques and Neiman. We were playing... Well, that's been Copperleaf when we were playing together, and we were talking about, I think it was around the first LIV Golf event, and we were saying, right, well, who's going to be the President's Cup team now that all these players are going? And we were like, okay, well, there's going to be Cam Smith, there's Jacques Neiman, those are your big ones. And now, okay, well, they're not there anymore. And Ryder Cup, I mean, no Sergio Garcia at the Ryder Cup at this stage. The GOAT of Ryder Cup.
Crazy.
Yeah, and I think that was also a massive blow to the PGA and to Ryder Cup as well, that I'll give up my captaincy, it's fine. I will not captain the Ryder Cup, which is also considered one of the biggest honours in golf.
Crazy.
Yeah.
To go to a Rebel Tour. So
Yeah, it's a big.
yeah, the last thing I want to talk about
shout.
with Live Golf is your question: is the field stacked yet? Now I looked at last weekend and it was a good field. You know,
It was
it wasn't a major field, but it was a pretty good field.
Yeah, and considering how quickly it's grown, especially after their latest signings, I'm going to say that it is now at a field that is certainly respectable enough to stop complaining about how weak the field is. There are still some guys that shouldn't be there, and I think that's the case. But I'm going to say all of a sudden the camera's switching between all these players, DJ, Phil, Bryson, Cam Smith, you're jumping through all these real big names, and all of a sudden, it's certainly becoming a stacked field. Is it where it needs to be? I'm going to say not quite yet, but has it certainly got a field now that is going to rival what all the people are saying that they don't have the big names? I think so. I think at this point now, it is now a really, really consumable product in terms of player names.
Well, what also going to be interesting is the fact that they've got 4 more events. The PGA Tour is done for a while. DP World Tour's got a couple of, I think it's 2 Rolex Series events left. So you're now sitting there going, if for example, if you've had an average year on the PGA Tour, you haven't won that much. You're not playing. There's not too many big tournaments left in the year. You're sitting there going, well, Live Golf is a very quick buck. It must be a couple of players must be sitting there genuinely thinking like, maybe this is the way to go. Maybe I need to actually go there and earn some quick money and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see what the next sort of set of players announced will be ahead of which is Chicago in 2 weeks, followed by Bangkok in October. Then you've got Jeddah, and then we've got Miami to finish it off.
What a cool event Miami's going to be.
Yeah, and that's going to be the big one at the Trump National down in Miami. So, yeah, interesting to see what happens with Liv, but a little bit closer to home. The Sunshine Tour is firmly underway, and we're entering quite a big block now because I think it's a 7-week continuous sort of section, but starting to get to some decent prize money as well. I think the first plus 2 million rand event is in about a month, but we've got the Gary and Vivian Player Challenge this weekend. Yeah. Ross, I'm going to make you our Sunshine Tour correspondent because your cousin's playing on it. You want to give us a bit of an update on what's been going on since things have... I think they got back in end of July after that little bit of a winter break.
Yeah. Yeah, it was around end of July. Yeah, end of July. I think the last week of July.
Yeah, August.
And then they had all 4 in a row. And then a week off.
Yeah, it seems like these last few tournaments aren't
now
really that big. It's kind of the origins of golf and everything like that. But they play such amazing courses. And then, as I said, I don't get to see it. Like, I'd love to see the pros tackle a Highland Gate. And unfortunately, I don't get to see it.
So I spoke to Matt Spacey. I played golf with him on Friday. And he played Highland Gate, had a good finish, came 6th. And he said Sunday, was it Sunday? Saturday. Yeah, I think Saturday, they finished on the Saturday, plays Thursday to Saturday. And he said the course was set up really interestingly. He said it was quite short off the tee, but he said that there were pins in some positions he'd never seen before in his entire life, and he was pretty sure that some of them weren't.
That's what I love to hear.
The boys calling out the greenskeeper at Highland Gate.
But he said it was a good event. He said it was really short on Sunday off the tee, but they got them back in terms of the pin placements.
It's such a unique course,
as you said, would have been like really cool to see.
What a unique course to watch pros take on. It's not your traditional champion. I don't want to say the championship sort of layout, the one that you expect from the Leopard Creeks and the Blair Athels and everything like that. But it's certainly a unique course. It's got some real cool views, some real awesome holes, unique holes that I personally would love to see the Sunshine Tour players play. But yeah, I think the Sunshine Tour needs to get on that broadcasting for us. We want to see more content. We want to see,
Yeah.
I want to watch the guys from 1st to 18 rot on my Saturdays, the whole thing,
Or maybe we start broadcasting. We'll start. We'll take some GoPros and we'll take over.
And
just right around the course. But I mean, talking about some difficult pin positions and tough placements and whatnot. I don't know if you guys saw the performances at Wingate. I think it was. There were some real shockers out there. And one of my favorite golfers, good old Michael Cox, shot an 86 out there.
No man, the Champilampi.
The Champilampi, and I don't know if you guys saw it, but he put out a video. I think him and Jared Harvey have become quite good mates, but he put out a video and he was like, yeah, my Champalamples, I know I got beaten out there, but all I have to say is, oh, daddy.
Not good.
Yeah, but no, Wingate really tore a lot of the pros apart, which I was surprised about because I didn't think it would be that tough of a course. But I think the wind was really blowing, so all the guys with some low spin would perform quite well.
But
yeah, and then also just on like scoring, I don't know if you guys saw they had that teams championship at Blue Valley a couple of weeks ago. And Combrick Spitz and Bernard Lambrecht. Did you guys see their first 3 holes on the final day? I don't know if you know Blue Valley. So it's the par 4 down the hill, then a par 3, then a par 5.
Jeez. I mean,
they started 3-1.
They weren't much better starts, are they?
3-1-2, and they shot 8 under par on the front 9 with
that's mental.
But I mean, again, I'm going to say, guys, the Blue Valley tournament was so cool. It was like a team tournament. They were playing foursomes and everything like that. And again, I couldn't really watch it because it wasn't aired. I think the final round might have been aired, or there was at least a highlights package. But again, I want to watch the guys, team up, play together. Like, what a cool format of golf to watch the Sunshine Tour players playing. Like, it's so cool to see, like, who knows who's playing with who, like what an awesome format to do. And again, I want to sit there on my Saturday watching the whole thing. I want to see the foursomes in the morning, the better ball in the afternoon. I want all of it, and again, I couldn't really quite watch it.
Well, I think that's it.
Yeah. And I mean, like, to go 3-1-2 to start a round of golf, I mean, I would love to know how many times in the history that's been done. I mean, you won 1, 3, like 6 under par after 3 holes of golf. I mean, that's like quite a cool thing.
I think we've been saying we want to try and get somebody from the Sunshine Tour onto the podcast. Maybe have a conversation and find out what the plan is. Are there maybe plans to broadcast more? What are the what's the situation there, and what do they need to be able to make that happen? Because I think that's also I mean, there are people popping up on the PGA Tour and DP World Tour that you've never heard of, and 90% of those sort of players come from Sunshine Tour and stuff. So we do need to see it a bit more, because let's be honest, your average, even a decent golf fan will probably be able to name maybe 10 players on Sunshine Tour. Your regular Sunshine Tour players, not your players who are sometimes on the Sunshine Tour and then they're over there for the European season or for the American season stuff. But they're down in Selborne, which I think could probably be one of the first golf courses I might have ever played in my life, actually, because we used to have timeshare there. So, yeah. And then you've got Vodacom Origins of Golf next week, followed by the Sunbet Challenge hosted by the Wild Coast Sun. And then they're back to Origins of Golf in St. Francis Links. And then they're back up into Gauteng in the first week of October for Fortunes Invitational. And then the Blue Label Challenge, which is, I think, going to be quite a cool tournament. I mean, that's the first big sort of R2.5 million prize money, first 4-round event that they've had since the Session Classic, which is back in May. There is a qualifier and stuff, but but after the first couple of weeks, Ross, who's been doing well, who's been doing poorly? Who are the players to watch? I mean, I'm going to talk about Tristan Lawrence a little bit because I was talking about it the other day about how his sort of meteoric rise. But who's caught your eye so far in the Sunshine Tour?
Well, this week we had Anthony Michael. I played with him in a Pro-Am at Danefern a couple of years ago. And he's one of those guys who's been on tour for a really long time and got his first win, which is quite cool to see. Down at Highland Gate, Tristan Straden's been playing really nicely. He's had a good season so far, which has now got him a couple starts on the European Challenge Tour. Got Albert Fenter playing really good golf at the moment, working his way up the Order of Merit. I think he's second in the Order of Merit now. So there's quite a few guys. Jakub Prinsloo's been playing nicely. George Garcia was home for a while and played quite a few events. So there's quite a few guys finding form.
There is one guy that I've noticed who is absolutely not found form. And, you know, we were originally meant to do a podcast a little while ago, but a lot of things came up. And I was going to say, like, you know, who are the kind of people to watch, or one guy that I really like to watch and see how he performs is Yuban Jung, who is the winner of the Q School, has obviously come onto the Sunshine Tour. And Q School, as we spoke about, obviously the hardest qualifying criteria to make it into the Sunshine Tour and everything like that. He looked really great. And, you know, I've seen a couple of his preseason runs. He was shooting the lights out at Bryanston and everything like that. And he's come onto the Sunshine Tour and absolutely underperformed. I think he is now sitting 96th on the Order of Merit. You know, a highest qualifying guy, obviously sitting at 96 is a bit of a pain. You're seeing the IGT guys like Michael Koch, who qualified, you know, in a weaker format, doing better than Yuban as well. And it's quite a shame, because I think that guy's got a lot of talent. And as I see, he was like shooting 64s and everything like that out of Bryanston for fun. I mean, at real low scores, and just nothing's translated to the Sunshine Tour. So he's been quite an underperformer for me. And I was actually hoping to see more from him, but I don't know if it's first season jitters or what it is, or if the level of golf is that good on the Sunshine Tour.
Yeah. And talking about the opposite of underperforming, one of the guys that also came up from the IGT Tour last year, Ryan van Velzen, he's had a really good season, and he's sitting here just looking quickly. Where's his name gone? He's 23rd on the Order of Merit.
Yeah, we must actually see. I'd be interested to see which
in his rookie year, which is really good, I think.
Probably Ryan,
to come out.
You mentioned it, and see where did they qualify from. Because is the Q School really, it's meant to be the hardest one to get in, but clearly the guys are overperforming. And then, I mean, just one last thing on overperformers, looking at Louis de Jager, who is currently leading our Order of Merit. He has only played 4 events. He played the Kit Kat Pro-Am, where he came 32nd. He played Sun City, where he came 2nd. He played Session, where he came 2nd. And the Zim Open, where he came 4th. I mean, 4 events, and you're leading the Sunshine Tour Order of Merit. The guys that have played 10 tournaments and aren't even close to you. It's a real spectacle to see how well he's just consistently performing every time. Yeah, so
I suppose that sort of shows you. I mean, we're talking about the fact that some rookies have stepped up, some haven't, and it's funny how it's always everyone on that tour has got the talents. You know, everyone. If you're playing on the tour, you've shot under 70. You know, you've shot some incredibly good scores, but it just sort of shows you the mental thing. You know, that it's one thing to shoot a 64 or 65 at Bryanston when you're playing with your mates and there's no pressure. But as soon as you're surrounded by players who are sinking 10-foot putts and approaching well and driving better than you, you know, exactly. And this putt's going to be the difference between, you know, you making the cut or not, or however many thousand or whatever and stuff like that. It's just amazing how the people, and some people have it, some people don't, you know. It's unfortunately, it's the one thing that you can, to a certain degree, get better, but you can't coach mentality. You can't coach BMT.
100%.
You know, you either have it or you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't. I don't know about you guys.
We don't.
You know,
Yeah.
I could have been a Sunshine Tour player, but I blame it on my mentality.
No.
But certainly, speaking of people, go for it, Steve.
Yeah, I was just saying. So just in terms of, so we got Selborne this week. So we got. Quite a few game of courses down in Durban, which will hopefully be quite cool to watch. And then they're back into Gauteng for a bit. But I suppose right now it's just also the eyes on the Nedbank Golf Challenge, which is obviously coached thanks to DP World Tour, 6.1 million euro prize fund, which is big. Zalatoris confirmed for it. So I think how after what, a 2-year hiatus? I don't think we had it last year. Or if you did, it wasn't particularly big. But Nedbank Golf Challenge, they've been making moves. As I said, Zalatoris confirmed for it.
The last
I think that
I must say that's actually a huge name for the Nedbank Golf Challenge. I've been waiting to see who they'd start releasing. Will Zalatoris, I reckon, is top 10 people you could probably pull through. I mean, bar a real major winner or anything like that. But I mean, he is a great talent to have there.
Well, he was pretty close to being major winners this year, to be fair to him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for a couple of
what a great player to get, and what an exciting guy to watch.
Major winner this year.
Yeah, so that's what's happening with the Sunshine Tour. Before we sort of go into what the Footwedge Crew Tour has been doing, just a bit of a quick wrap up. FedEx Cup, Rory McIlroy with the win there, walking away with $18 million. And then you got Sungjae and Scotty Scheffler at T2. But yeah, FedEx Cup was. I mean, it's always a good watch and a nice way for the PGA Tour to still culminate. But how good is it to see Rory McIlroy playing the way he is once again?
Yeah, it was a gutsy performance, and I mean, when that guy's putters on, I think he is up there as well.
I think that's
when that guy's putting well, he's hard to beat.
Yeah, Steve.
No, I was just going to say $18 million, and it's not about the money, it's about growing the game. I'll let that sit with you, you know.
For me, it is a bit difficult for me to say that, you know, to start saying it's about growing, you know, about growing the ball, and they're just going for money when you are playing on the richest tour in the world, and you are pocketing some pretty big money.
In a sport that is already huge money. But let me not take away from Rory's win. It's obviously great to see him doing well again. There's been a couple times where you see him get so close and he falls short. I mean, you obviously saw it against Cam Smith, and I think everyone was kind of rooting for Rory in that particular instance. Just such a passionate player and someone that everyone's been wanting to see come right for a little bit of time now. But it's good to see now that he's finally done it.
Yeah, and I think if he can keep that putter hot for a little while, but I think it'll be a bit of a bummer for him now that the season's
there's 4 live events.
As he's like found that form
over,
again.
brother.
But if he can start the season,
could you imagine?
Yeah, not good.
Yeah, the PGA Tour will be done. They'd have to cancel the tour next year. They basically can't challenge tour.
Right, I'm going.
You know, it would be. But two big tournaments remaining in the year, and Nedbank Golf Challenge. But the two sort of Rolex events. DP World Tour this week. We've got the BMW PGA Championship. Now, what's making this going to be adding a little bit of extra spice is there are LIV players who are going to be playing with the likes of a Rory McIlroy and Scotty Scheffler and all those people. We look at the entry list, for example, John Rahm, Patrick Hovland, all the usual PGA suspects, but a couple of players who have been on and at LIV. So what do you reckon? What do you think? I mean, do you think there's a lot of tension in like the clubhouse and stuff like that when they see LIV players? You know, what do you think the sort of the environment is like?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of tension. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw that interview that Rory did, and he said like the LIV guys actually make him sick, and like when he sees them at the BMW, there's going to be no conversation had amongst him and any of the guys that have gone to LIV, which I found quite, because I think that could make the environment and the vibe in the clubhouse, and especially if your pairing is, for instance, if one of Rory's pairings for one of the days is with a LIV player, it could be quite interesting. It's quite hostile on the golf course and in the clubhouse.
The Scheffler Cam Smith incident. So, according to Golf, this was yesterday, the list of LIV golf players who are on the entry list for saying the 2023 one. What I'm assuming is a typo. It's got Abraham Anser, Taylor Gooch, Patrick Reed, Lee Westwood, Sergio Garcia, Bernd Wiesberger, Sam Horsfield, Pablo Lavathabel, Richard Bland, Graham McDowell, Justin Harding, Sean Norris, Brandon Grace, Ian Poulter, Laurie Cantor, Adrian Otui, and Wade Ormsby. I mean, Brandon Grace is probably just going to go there and be like, dude, I don't care. Like, have you seen my purse? You see what I've... He's going to rock up in his like Bentley and say, what's your
Yeah.
issue? Ignore me if you want to. I'm a millionaire.
I think it's also going to be quite interesting because I don't know if you guys saw, so like when Poulter played the D&D Czech Masters a couple of weeks ago, he didn't get a single minute of airtime, and the DP World Tour have come out and said it's going to be the same again this week for the LIV guys. They aren't going to get any TV time, so it'll be quite interesting because like they're there and they're playing.
What gets interesting in that regard is if they start
and you're not going to
doing
see
well.
them on TV either.
You know, if you've got a somebody from LIV, say you've got like a Patrick Reed or someone who's like a big name, Patrick Reed or Lee Westwood starts putting together a hell of a round, and you've got Lee Westwood, at like T2, T3. How do you not show him out of your anti-LIV golf thing when he's going to be a crowd favorite? He's going to be, one of the big names there, and if he's doing well, it becomes difficult to justify not showing him and not focusing on him.
Yeah. And it'll also be quite interesting because I heard this, I'm not sure if it's true or not, but apparently that week when Poulter played D&D as well, he wasn't on the European Tour app leaderboard. So you could go onto the European Tour app and search his name, but he didn't pop up on the
But I think that's what it's gonna. That's what it's gonna be like. It's clearly a petty thing. This whole thing, and
so it'll be
I have no doubt there's going to be tension in the locker rooms and everything like that. There's a clear divide between the players, and it's now become about morals and this and that. And I'm sure it's all in play. But yeah, it's a real. It does make for more interesting golf and better narratives in the sport where narratives are so important.
You probably find the LIV golfers in the corner playing poker with the massive buy-in that other guys can't afford.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I think would be interesting is if one of the LIV guys were to win it.
What can you imagine? And today, after the win, we have T2, and that's the post-match interview. And you got the winner, and they're like, "Well, what do we do? We're not showing the trophy presentation." So, I wonder how Greg Norman and them are going to be watching this and saying, "Come on, guys, we just need one of you guys to win it." That's exactly what we need out of them. But a big South African contingent this weekend. When I looked on it earlier, the following South Africans are on the entry list at this stage. It's Brandon Stone, Tristan Lawrence, Garrett Kicho, Dean Burmester, Justin Harding, Sean Norris, Daniel von Tonda, Brandon Grace, George Coetzee, Justin Walters, Darren Fickhart, Richard Stern, Xander Lombard, JC Ritchie, Vilko Ninaba, Louis Diaga, Bryce Easton, and Thomas Aiken. So quite a nice South African flavour there. Any people there who you reckon might be able to mount a bit of a charge, might be worth watching out for?
I just want to know how Thomas Aiken and Bryce Easton have got on there into the event.
I think it was Race to Buy rankings or Road to Mallorca or something.
That's quite interesting. You haven't heard, or at least I haven't heard Thomas Aiken's name for ages now.
Yeah, it says it's.
And even.
I think I'm seeing Road to Mallorca and Race to Dubai in the thing. So yeah, something along those lines. Same as Wilco Nino, the same way. A lot of them seem to have qualified through that.
All right.
But yeah, so enough about the pros. I mean, yeah.
I think a name we've got to watch.
Yeah.
I think he's been in incredible form, and I wouldn't count him out this week.
Yeah, and I mean, for somebody who a year ago didn't have the best
Tristan
season,
Lawrence.
He's been I think he won a DP World Tour event the other day. So hopefully he can mount a bit of a charge. But yeah, moving on to more sort of the closer to home. Ross, your blooming late career, your late charge towards being a pro golfer. I see that the scores are coming down. You want to take us through your last couple of rounds?
Yeah, I've been playing quite nicely recently. I think trending in the right direction, definitely. I'm Shot 72 for the first time in my life about a week ago at Blue Valley. Shot 71 twice, 73 more times than I can count, but never shot 72 up until last week. So that was quite nice. And I think I've had 5 rounds in the 70s. So we're trending in the right direction, which is quite nice after
if you were to
some really bad golf.
For example, I mean, we've things like playing in the SA Open qualifier and stuff like that. What's the situation? I assume you have to have a handicap of your index must be less than 1, I think, isn't it, or something along those lines?
Yeah, I think
so
your
if you worked it out, what
under
sort of scores you'd have to card just before then, and also like how, like, so for example, you play a couple of really good rounds, get your index under 1. Can you just not play for a month and try and open? Like, I mean, there must be certain provisos about that.
Yeah, so I don't think there's any like regulations on you have to have played like so many times like before and leading up to the qualifier. I think your handicap just has to be below the cutoff.
Okay, well, we're looking forward to you,
and then you can get in.
Making that charger, you know, because it's going to take me and DeBarros a while before we get our index just down there. But DeBarros, firmly heading towards single digits in that handicap. What's been happening?
Yeah, I was touching an index of 10, and it's unfortunately gone up by 0.2, but I was close, but I've still got a couple of weekends to try and keep it down. Yeah, it's been, I must admit, been some real good golf lately. I shot my PB, which is an 80, just the other day, last weekend. I know you've got some controversy about my scoring as of recent, Steve, so I don't know if you want to get that off your chest before I continue.
What is the par at the course that you shot 80?
So it's a par 70, but the course rating and slope rating is that of any other par 72, difficulty if not harder. So I'm actually going to have to take Steve out to Killarney and see how he likes that par 70, see how it treats him. But yeah, I must say I've been playing, if you look at my scores, I've been playing some real good golf at Killarney. And 2 weeks ago, actually, or 2 or 3 weeks ago, I played my singles knockout. I had the semi-final, and I ended up winning that with, at that time, a PB of 81. So I made a charge through to the finals, and I actually did some scare tactics against the guy that I was versing, and I brought Michael Palmer, which is one of the pros, to come with me. And his intimidation factor actually paid off for me.
Do we want to talk about what happened yesterday?
We can get that out the way because, you know, you've got to have the bad days to have the good days.
That's what I was just looking at. I'm seeing some nice scores, but I do have question marks after going 87, 83, 80, 86, and then yesterday almost raising the bat with a 99.
So I do have an excuse for that. I was playing Pretoria Country Club, and for those that do or don't know, Saturday was the It's Personal Choll here in Joburg, and I may have committed a bit more to the It's Personal Choll than I did the round of golf on Sunday. So I was a very dizzy boy over the ball at Pretoria, and I did some amazing things. But that 99, I think I shot a bad 86 the day before at Killarney, and then the 99 came out to play at Pretoria.
Well, as long as you did your ancestors proud with your efforts in the evening, then I'm sure we can, as a group, we can forgive such scores.
Absolutely. Look, you don't shoot a 99 unless you had a good performance the night before. So I can assure you, a score like that doesn't just happen without effort. But I've certainly been training in the right direction, Steve, and I've got my singles. I'm in the finals of the singles knockout for Killarney, and I've been working really, really hard at it. I wake up in the mornings, do sunrise golf. I've been going to the World of Golf nearly every night. It's a real mindset thing that I'm now training for.
I reckon if Ross trained as hard as you, he'd been on Sunshine Tour already.
Absolutely. I think if anyone trained as hard as me, they'd probably have made it. So I've got a clear lack in talent that I make up with effort. So, the single final is it's just got to be done before the end of October. So I'm trying to time it right as to when I do it. They're doing holotining now, so I'm going to obviously give it some time, but then I'm looking at probably mid-October, beginning October, and as I say, I'm flat out training for it now.
Yeah.
So
I think
are we
the
gonna
Sunshine
are we
Tour
are we gonna
process
be
is
getting
good.
a little bit of a supporters crew together?
Yeah, I'm trying to rally up as many people as I can. Maybe the Foot Wedge crew is going live around it. I've got 36 holes straight match play, which is a dream come true to me. I know not a lot of people have the golf fitness that I do. A lot of people have far better fitness than me. In fact, I'd say most do. Even those that don't train probably have better fitness than me. But one thing I certainly have is the golf fitness on my side. 36 holes is, yeah, I could probably do 72 holes in a day if I had the time and the money.
Okay,
So,
well, I think you let us know where it is, and the Footbridge crew will be there with the cooler box and wheels and a couple of GoPros.
yeah, absolutely. I'm looking at bringing. I want the crowds lining up. You know how at the British Open when everyone was jumping over the salute. There's a lot of
Yeah.
salutes at Killarney. I want to see my mates doing the same effort.
You're gonna have an epic photo of the two you walking up the fairway with the hundreds behind you. Me and Ross will be there controlling the crowds with the rope.
No, we might need it. I've advertised it enough.
Okay, well, looking forward to that. I've decided that there's no point trying to card good scores. So I'm embarking on a very different golfing journey from you guys because golf was meant to be fun, not to score low scores because I can't score low scores. So I am now officially course number 4 into my new endeavor, which is being called Project 430, which is a very ambitious attempt to try and play all/as many of the full-length golf courses in the country, which there are, fun fact, 430 of them. So 4 down, 426 to go, and that's what Ross thinks about it, the fact that he's just decided to jump off it.
He's just not interested in your endeavors. He just wanted to talk about himself clearly.
Yeah, he's gotten it out the way, and now he's off.
He defended the PGA Tour, and he's done now.
He had a checklist. He said, "I've done the PGA Tour. I've boasted about my 72. I've told people that I'm going to be a big deal. So, yeah, now that we're talking about you guys, I've got better things to do."
Fair enough. But talk to me about this Project 430. You've done 4 courses already. Tell me how well established those courses are.
So, welcome, Ross. We weren't sure if you actually cared or not.
Yeah, I was sorry about that. Might have to check out.
So in terms of so unfortunately what happened is that I launched it and then suddenly had a lot to do work-wise, and I didn't manage to play because I had a whole plan to play a certain amount of courses in August. But started with Huddle Park. You got to start with the home course. It's got to be the start, and it might even be the end of it. You might go back there.
Yeah, real exclusive, real tough to get in. You might as well knock those off early.
Historically one of the best courses in the country, so you got to start there. We've played, now went Benoni Lake Club Benoni.
Just keeping the standards high.
And then we went Pretoria Golf Club, which, if anybody has walked, is, this course, you play the first, I think it's the first or the 10th, I'm trying to remember, I think we went off the 10th actually. And you walk down and you're like, cool. And then you finish it and there's a sign that says this way. You have to take a bridge that goes over the highway to get to the rest of the night. Like you are literally I reckon you're 20,000 steps into by the time you get to the second hole. I got to I finished the front 9 and I sat there. I couldn't. I was sitting there like, guys, I'm not sure I can actually play the rest of the 9. Like I can't. I don't have another 9 in me. By the time we finished at 18, I was just hating life. I played terribly. The scores were terrible. That course was one of the longest courses I ever walked. It just wasn't fun. But then played CMR on Friday. Right? Yeah, definitely the course's fault. And then we had CMR on Friday, which at least played a little bit better. So look, the courses haven't. They're in winter. The problem is you're playing courses which don't have a lot of funding, and we're playing them in winter, so they're not looking particularly good. I think that if you played any golf course in April this year, they wouldn't look good. So the Huddle's definitely been the best course in terms of the conditions and stuff like that so far. Which is not saying mass. Look, to be fair, I'll give Huddle credit there. The greens were well looked after throughout the winter. I played there a couple of times, and the greens were looking quite good. But hoping to try and tick off a few more off the box. Got a website that's hopefully launching in the next week, as well as videos of all the various courses and stuff like that. Haven't played with you guys yet because everybody's been so busy. But that's the plan: is to just start ticking off the course and then go on tour to around the country.
Yeah, well, hopefully we're taking off another
Yeah.
course this Sunday or the next, Steve?
Yeah, definitely. And then Ross, when he's back at
Do you
Joburg,
wanna-
we can tick off.
Yeah, do you want to let everyone know the next prestigious course you potentially have lined up?
At this stage, we're looking at a Kempton Park, which is basically like the Serengeti sister course, just down the road. And yeah, again, I think it's gonna be dry. Hopefully, we get some rain this week because these courses are struggling. There's just no water out there.
Yeah.
But so hopefully we'll have a bit more to talk about that once things have picked up a little bit. But gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. Welcome back. We are hopefully back for good. We'll be back next week in studio, which is going to be very exciting. And then once the pros are finished touring down in Natal, hopefully we're going to try and get a couple of guests onto the show very, very soon, which is going to be quite exciting. Until then, please do smash like the video. Please do keep well. And we will see everybody soon.